thinking. And if I'd known this, I would not have started this company. So the other days I'm like, oh, this is great, And we have supporters like Sonali's taken me to meet people in Pune that I never thought I would meet. She's been a great advocate, right? So you just have to build on your strengths, find the right people, find mentors, find people you can sort of cry on their shoulders. One of the downturns I had a friend who would call me every few days and say, how are you doing? What do you need? Do you need money? Do you need this? I managed through it. I didn't need money, but that call helped a lot. So if you've got friends who are going through tough situations, call them. It's just a call. They probably won't even take your money. If they do, you can always say no, right? But at least make that call, and you don't even have to offer money. Just I think that finding that support system, and although I don't have family in the U.S., the friend circle we built has been incredible. And anytime any one of us gets in trouble, the whole group comes around and says, how do we help them? So I think that is critical. As an entrepreneur, I would highly, highly suggest you to have that core group of people around you.
Excellent. And so I wanted to stress a little bit around your current engagements and projects, right? So you've gone from kind of being very focused in wealth management, the family office that you're running, to kind of this phase that you are in right now where you're doing multiple projects, right? So how is that going? How do you make it work? Because I think that's something also for everybody to learn the do's and the don'ts, because all of us have more ideas than we can handle. So can you share a little bit of that?
So, the two projects have now become passion projects, right? So I came for one of my clients to run as an interim CEO, to run their NBFC in Hyderabad. So we're lending money to these low-cost schools. I walked into school after 32 years, and nothing had changed. The way we studied, at least my generation, same thing. The kids were watching the chalk drawing on the board, and sentence that got me was, I copied in your fair notebook at home. Anyone remember that? Like, it's going to do you no good, right? So, and I walked out of that school and just kept thinking about it. And there was a point in my life that I could do things differently or do different things. So I talked to my wife and I said, look, I'd like to do this. And I always wanted to do something like this because of family that helped me. I felt like I could never pay them back for what they did, but I can hopefully pass it on to other kids. So this became a perfect opportunity. 2013, I finished my assignment. I said, I'm going to do this. I put together a plan and talked to some Thai friends in Atlanta, and we raised $500,000 in 3 weeks. I was shocked, So this was in March. I thought it would take me a few months. I'll start the school next year. I was like, oh, we can still get started this year. So I came running back to India, bought a school, and partner of mine, Manish, who was a dynamic young man, joined me, and we said, let's run it. We had no clue what we were getting into. People ask us, what qualifications do you have to run these schools? Like, well, we used to fail just like these kids, right? So that's our qualification. I think we didn't help them, I think. And 3 years now, we've got 3 schools, about 1,000 kids. We raised money from Acumen Fund last year and expanded a little bit, expanded the team. There's been phenomenal change in the kids. They've just been, what the team has done has been fantastic. And I've stayed out of their way for the most part. I come and sort of disturb them a little bit, do this. They're like, okay, now get out. And so the team has been really great. We've got 2 IIT guys. We've got several Teach for India fellows. It's become like a platform for professionals who want to be in the sector and give them a sort of professional platform to work in.
And so this company essentially is going to buy and run more schools, starting with the Andhra Pradesh region and then grow outwards. And so what's your grand plan, I guess?
So right now, the next phase for us is, and I don't sort of do 10-year plans. I think for me, it just don't work. I do shorter term plans. So for the next 2 years, our idea is to we'll raise capital end of this year and add 2 to 3 more schools for next year. This year, we're just sort of building out our platform to make sure that we're ready for this expansion. In the following year, we're looking at 5 to 10 schools. So we'll see how that goes, what the team can absorb. But it's very critical for us to make sure that we don't lose our focus on quality side. We can get the right people. If we stay at 5 schools, and I'm personally fine with it if that's all we can absorb as a group. And even with 5 schools, we're actually having quite an impact. So when we go in a neighborhood, we upset a lot of people. To me, last year we had some 10 schools get together and file a complaint against us with the DOE, the Department of Education, and the team was like, I can do it. Like, this is great. This is really good. They're nervous, right? At least we're doing something right. I said, invite them to come see what we're doing if they want to copy it, and vice versa. See if we can go to their school. I'm sure they're doing some things that we're not doing as well. So, none of them have taken this up yet, but I think we'll just grow at a slow and steady pace, and once we feel like we're ready for the expansion, we'll then kick it in.
Excellent. And let's talk a little bit about your other project right now, which is your report. What do you see it turning into, and what's your vision? And I'm sure you're putting all your experience behind it. And when you mentioned that after living in India a little bit, you saw yourself doing the same thing. I see myself going through that a little bit, and it annoys the hell out of me. So I'm sure all of us can use this very effectively. But tell us a little bit, because like you said, there have been a number of attempts around this. So how do we make it work as a society, and what's the thought process behind that?
Yeah, I think I have to give credit to some of these cities who are really trying. So there are apps in Delhi, Bangalore, and Hyderabad. Unfortunately, they don't work fully. At least my experience has been where I've tried to upload a few things, they've crashed. And I think this is where entrepreneurs can come in, right? We think from a different mindset. When we go to talk to a lot of the officials, they throw this whole, roll of problems they're having. But then we think through the solutions, like, okay, how can we do it? In fact, one of the meetings, Sonali, to her credit, mentioned something to the DCPs, like, why don't we do this? And they had thought about it. And it could actually make a lot of sense. And just from having it, people who have different experiences, I don't think they quite leverage that. But I think as entrepreneurs, we do that, we call on others, and that makes a lot of difference. And I think we can put a solution, we'll make mistakes. I think they're also scared to make mistakes. So they're like, give us a package with a bow on it. I don't have it, I don't think anyone else has it, but we can get there. So I think we're finding them receptive. It'll be a tough uphill battle, but we'll fight it and see where we end up. But I think there's scope for it. There's opportunity to create a lot of jobs the way we're thinking about it. So our idea is to give this app to auto rickshaw drivers or cycle rickshaw drivers and let them record violations. And then upload it, and we can have back-end technology people who can look at it. I think within a 6-month period, I think we can have a massive impact. In fact, just in Delhi, I was recording with the app. I was standing with those of you know Mulchand intersection, and when I had my camera on, everyone stopped behind the light. If they crossed it, they went back. In fact, a taxi driver probably from here to the end of the wall saw me, and I have a photograph where he's reversing it. So it makes an impact. And they know the rules. In fact, cycle rickshaw guys, I was talking to them, I said, show them the app, and I said, what if you make a couple hundred more a day? Would you use it? I said, bilkul, bilkul. And they started pointing at violations. I was shocked. I was like, you know there's a violation? And so like, taxi came and parked on the turn. I was like, हाँ sir, यहाँ पे खड़ा गलत. I was like, no, you guys are standing here, blocking the same road. But they know it, and I think it's also an education piece, right? A lot of people don't know it, things that they're doing. I mean, obviously the wrong side driving and all. But when you merge into a lane, no one looks. Anyway, they just sort of come on the side. So I think those things we can actually use it as a educational tool as well.
Correct. So I think the other point I want to touch upon a little bit, you came from a completely different background, and now you're running multiple schools. You're doing your report, which is another sector altogether, and you obviously pulled off a bunch of these things earlier as well. So I think in an entrepreneurial ecosystem that all of us go through, I see that there's a lot of struggle with conviction, keeping that faith in the idea, making it happen, and things like that, right? So what is your advice to young entrepreneurs who are sitting here in terms of not pivoting for the sake of pivoting, and kind of having that conviction and making that idea work? What has worked for you, and what would you advise?
I mean, I will tell you, at times I feel defeated. You sort of think like I've trying this, I'm trying to do the good things. You sort of go through that